Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's exciting Cooper family reunion will highlight the secret tragedy of Sheldon that The Big Bang Theory never told. Chuck Lorre is further expanding the sitcom franchise that he and Bill Prady kick-started with a new show starring Montana Jordan and Emily Osment. Instead of the Coopers, however, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's extended cast will be the McAllisters, as the couple lives with them for a while. Admittedly, this is a risky change, considering how beloved Georgie's clan is. While they won't be series regulars, the Coopers will still have a presence in the show. As previously confirmed, Zoe Perry and Annie Potts will reprise their respective roles as Mary and Mimo in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's pilot episode, The 610 to Lubbock. Meanwhile, episode 2 will feature the return of Reagan Revord as Missy. While she was initially set to only make a single episode appearance, her role has since then been expanded to become a recurring guest star, as the Young Sheldon sequel delves deep into her relationship with her older brother. Beyond that, however, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage is also confirmed to stage a reunion for the Cooper family. Thanks to a social media post by Potts, it is now confirmed that 4 young Sheldon characters will return in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's special Thanksgiving episode. In a behind-the-scenes video, Perry, Revord, Potts, and Dale actor Craig T. Nelson will be back for the sequel as they spend the holiday with the McAllisters. Since Georgie and Mandy's first marriage hasn't even premiered yet, there's barely any narrative detail announced for the said special. That said, seeing the actors get together on the set again months after Young Sheldon's ending is enough to excite those who miss them. Despite not being an official member of the family, it makes sense that Dale will be part of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage festivities. He has gotten closer to Mimo ever since they started living together, which was followed by George's unexpected death. However, one notable absence is Sheldon. Granted that the boy genius already moved out of Texas and to California, where he is finishing his postgraduate studies at Caltech. As seen in The Big Bang Theory, he would stay in Pasadena until his adult years, although he is still expected to come back home from time to time. George's death in Young Sheldon Season 7 had an immense impact on his family. Because of its unexpected nature, everyone was caught off guard and reacted differently. Suffice it to say, their lives changed drastically when the tragedy happened. So it's great that George's family can gather and celebrate the holiday, despite the harrowing events of the year. That said, there seems to be something off-putting knowing that Sheldon won't be there. While Mary clung to her faith, Georgie went on autopilot, and Missy started lashing out. The boy genius internalized his grief in the Young Sheldon Season 7 final. He didn't even properly say goodbye to George during his funeral, or talk to anyone about his regrets over his shortened time with him. Adult Sheldon in the flash-forward admitted that he tried to evade properly processing his grief by purposefully not talking about it. Knowing that he is alone in California, with no support system during the holidays, makes George's death a worse tragedy for him. Via flashback sequences, The Big Bang Theory revealed how Sheldon met Leonard, Howard, and Raj, something that isn't due to happen for several more years in the prequel's timeline. That said, the nerd-centric sitcom never showed what life was like for George and Mary's son during his starting days at Caltech. Despite claiming to prefer being alone, Sheldon needs emotional support, especially during this very difficult time. This makes his non-involvement in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's Cooper reunion episode worse. While Sheldon won't be in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage Thanksgiving reunion episode, it doesn't mean that he won't be back in the Young Sheldon sequel. The producers have confirmed that they are actively working to bring him back. Ian Armitage is also willing to reprise his breakout role, even for just one episode. Ideally, Sheldon should find himself back home in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's Season 1. Perhaps he could be the final's special guest. Otherwise, his cameo can be saved for the show's potential sophomore year. Fans of The Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon were already buzzing about the Georgie and Mandy's first marriage sequel series, but nothing could have prepared them for the bombshell dropped in the long-awaited Cooper family reunion episode. Beneath the laughter and sweet Southern charm, the episode took a surprisingly emotional turn, revealing a hidden tragedy that Sheldon Cooper had carried with him for decades, a heartbreak so deeply buried, Not even his closest friends in Pasadena ever knew the full truth. The reunion setup. Nostalgia meets new beginnings. The reunion episode begins with Georgie and Mandy inviting the entire Cooper family to their home for a big family barbecue, a throwback to the good old Texas gatherings seen so often in young Sheldon. Missy is back from California with her twins. Mary has recently returned from a missionary trip overseas, and Mimo, though a bit slower, still has her fire and sass. Surprisingly, the episode opens with Sheldon, now older, more composed, but still unmistakably Sheldon, arriving with Amy and their teenage son Leonard. The scene is packed with nostalgia, as viewers are instantly reminded of the character's evolution from awkward genius to a man shaped by both love and loss. A scene that changes everything. While the family sits around the table, sharing stories and catching up, Mandy asks Sheldon about his work. With typical Sheldon precision, he launches into an explanation about theoretical physics and string theory, until a passing comment from Mimo derails everything. "I still can't believe how close you were to finishing that book with Dad," Mimo mutters, her voice laced with sadness. Silence falls over the table. Sheldon goes rigid. The camera lingers on his face just long enough for viewers to catch something rarely seen from him: vulnerability. Emmy instinctively reaches for his hand. Leonard, curious, asks, "Wait, Grandpa was writing a book with you?" And with that one question, the floodgates open. A secret collaboration with George Sr. Sheldon reveals that during the final year of his father's life, something long hinted at but never fully explored in either young Sheldon or the Big Bang Theory. He and George Sr. had begun writing a book together. Not a scientific one, a memoir. It started as a joke. George had once teased that Sheldon should write a book explaining how to survive raising a genius, but the project evolved into something deeper, a dual-perspective memoir titled My Son the Genius, My Dad the Coach. Each chapter was written in alternating voices, Sheldon providing his analytical, often humorous, observations, and George contributing heartfelt, fatherly reflections about what it meant to raise such an extraordinary but difficult child. The family listens in stunned silence as Sheldon continues. They had written 6 chapters before George died. Sheldon, unable to deal with the grief, buried the project and never spoke of it again. He tells them that the unfinished manuscript still sits in a sealed box in his Pasadena home, untouched since he was 14. Why he never told anyone? Amy explains that even she didn't know the full story until a few years ago. Sheldon had kept it from everyone, ashamed that he couldn't finish the work. Not because he wasn't smart enough, but because it hurt too much. "I always thought I could outscience the grief," Sheldon says in a rare moment of emotional honesty. But no equation could solve the pain of losing him. The camera pans to Georgie, who has tears in his eyes. "You know, I always thought you didn't care when Dad died," he says. "You just kept going, cold, distant. I didn't know this was eating you alive." "I didn't know how to process it," Sheldon replies. "So I filed it away like a failed experiment. But it wasn't a failure. It was love. Just not the kind I knew how to handle. A family reconnection and a mission." Missy is the first to speak up. "We need to finish that book," she says. "For Dad, for all of us." The rest of the family agrees. In the final moments of the episode, the camera shows Sheldon opening the old dusty box with Amy and Leonard by his side. Inside are pages and pages of typed manuscripts, handwritten notes in the margins, and even a few drawings George had sketched, funny cartoons illustrating their conversations. The scene fades to black as Sheldon reads the last paragraph his father ever wrote. It's a simple but powerful line. "No matter how smart my boy is, the thing I'm proudest of is that he never stopped being curious about the world, about life, about us." Emotional fallout and what comes next. The episode ends not with closure, but with a sense of rediscovery. Sheldon, who spent much of his adult life detached from emotional complexity, is now re-evaluating the past with new eyes. And fans are left grappling with the revelation that the aloof, brilliant physicist they watched for 12 seasons of The Big Bang Theory wasn't just eccentric, He was quietly carrying an emotional wound that shaped his entire worldview. Critics are already calling the episode a masterstroke of storytelling, applauding how it connects the dots between the light-hearted tone of Georgie and Mandy and the deeper emotional arcs that have long simmered beneath the surface of the TBBT universe.